Hello, my name is Ed Thompson, and I'm the author of the rootspersona plugin for WordPress, the plugin that allows you to generate family websites. What I'd like to show you today is how to upload a GEDCOM file into rootspersona and use that information to generate your own persona pages. The example on the screen is the persona page for my grandfather, and you can see as I scroll down some of the various information that rootspersona is able to pull out of a GEDCOM file, and some of the panels that it's able to create for you using this information. It's standard genealogical data generated by any standard genealogical software. So let's get started. My software of choice is Rootsmagic, and you can use any genealogical software to generate your GEDCOM file, whatever your favorite tool is. All of the respectable software is able to export in the GEDCOM format, as the GEDCOM format is the standard. So I'm going to select Export, and here I can choose the types of information and whether I want to include living people. I'm just going to export everything, and I will give it a name. Let's say Demo, and it has populated. And now if I pull it up here, you'll see that demo.ged has been generated in the standard GEDCOM format. Nothing spectacular here if you're familiar with that format. So, from rootspersona, from my website, here I've got a demo website that I've installed for the purposes of this demonstration. If I look at the person index, you'll see that currently it's empty. I'm going to go to the dashboard, Tools, rootspersona, and select Upload GEDCOM. I will browse for the file that I just created, and here it is, and I'll select Upload. Now notice here there's some warnings. I do read some of your PHP settings. The two major issues that people have uploading GEDCOM is uploading very large files and the timeout setting that you may have on your website. The bigger the file, the longer it takes to upload and the longer it takes to process. By default, PHP it has a max input time and a max execution time of 30 seconds. Now that's generally not going to be long enough for you to upload a GEDCOM file and have it process. This particular demo instance, I have it set to 60. Normally I set mine to 120. Rootspersona will do everything it can to reset the timer after each persona record is installed, but just in case that it's not able to, based on your security settings, I encourage you to increase the setting to 2 to 3 minutes, 120 to 180 seconds. You may also run into a timeout factor with the web server itself outside of PHP, as a lot of websites have a 5-minute timeout. I believe that's the default for Apache, so keep that in mind as well. I select Upload, and at this point in time what's happening is the file is being uploaded to the website server, and once it's on the server, the data in the GEDCOM is being parsed and stored in in the WordPress database. When we installed rootspersona plugin, it created some database tables, and we're done. So here I have a list of the people that were in the GEDCOM file. And now these pages have not been created for these people. So I'm going to go down and select the people that I want to include. Now you can include everybody should you choose to, and pages would be created. Here I'm holding down the Shift key and then pressing on the last person. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to install a few key people. So I'll install my grandfather, and usually I like to avoid living people. And I'll install my grandmother as well, Ellen Charles, and Elizabeth Charles. I'm holding down the Control key. By holding down the Control key and selecting, I'm able to keep the first selection I made at the same time do the second. So I'm just going to install those two people, and I will add them. And it tells me that page 63 was created for person number I-280, and page 64 was created for person I-407. Now those are the IDs pulled out of the GEDCOM file. Obviously not very meaningful data, but if I go back to my website and select person index, you'll see here that there are now 2 entries in the person index, one for Elizabeth Charles and one for Raymond Brooks Thompson. And if I select the link for Raymond Brooks Thompson, my grandfather, you'll see here that I have a header very similar to what you saw on my website, a biography section which was not included. I have that turned off on my website right now, but this will actually pull the notes out that are attached to the individual, a few facts about my grandfather. It will display his ancestors, 2 generations, but if I select them, it keeps me on this page because I haven't uploaded any of his ancestors. Here's the family group sheet I showed you before, and my grandfather as a child. Here's another family group sheet, this time with Raymond Brooks Thompson as a parent. And I'm not going to scroll down because I have living relatives that will show up on that page. Now, if I go back here and select my grandfather's spouse, Ellen Elizabeth Charles, if you remember that was the other page that I also chose, you'll see that I have her information as well. And there's one additional screen here. Ellen Elizabeth Charles, I have a citation. So it included the evidence panel. I'm going to click on the citation, and it warns me that I haven't created any citation pages. Well, how do I create a citation page? I'm going to go back to the dashboard, to Tools, rootspersona, and here I'm going to select Add Evidence Pages. Now before I did an upload, which immediately took me to Add Upload Persons page, now I'm going to add evidence pages. And the reason I do this separately is to get around the timeout issues. The message came back very quickly that I have installed 36 source pages. And in fact, if I go to the evidence index now, you'll see here that I have various cited sources that have been listed. And this is a paginated index. And now if I go back to my grandmother, and scroll down to the evidence panel. Now if I select the footnote, you see here that it takes me to the evidence page where I have the source quoted. If there were any specific citations, they would be listed, and any persons of interest that can reference this same source would be listed here. Now actually I happen to know there are 4 or 5 people of interest referenced in this source, but since I haven't uploaded those people, they're not listed here. So let's do one more thing. And I'll show you. I'm going to go back to the tools for rootspersona, and I'm going to select the Add Uploaded Persons pages, and I'm back to this list, and I'm going to install my grandmother's mother, Adabelle Basham, and add her, and it tells me the page has been created. I check the index. Sure enough, there's a 3rd person. I'm going to go back to my grandmother's page. And now if I click on Adabelle Basham in the family tree, it takes me to her page with her information. The question marks basically show that I haven't gone very far in this particular family tree. Anyone who has a link up here, if a page has been created, you can navigate to their ancestors, etc. And this actually has 2 citations. It has the same one for my grandmother, which now lists 2 people of interest. And it has a poorly quoted source here, the 1930 census, and I need to clean up my source and my citations to display a little bit better. I need to clean that up, and for that I'll go back to Roots Magic where I maintain my GEDCOM file. So that's it. That's how you upload a GEDCOM file and create persona pages and evidence pages for your family trees website, and I hope that you find this video helpful.